Hey all, once again, thank you. So this is the course that we are going to cover is Power BI and Postgres SQL, right? Now Power BI is one of the powerful business intelligence tool, right? That is provided by the Microsoft, right? It is easy to understand, learn, and implement, right? And the certification that we are going to target is PL 300 certification. Now, many students has a doubt, okay, why I need to take up the Power BI, right? What is the opportunities that we are having with the Power BI, and is it easy to learn? Is it having more extensive coding? This kind of questions would be there, right? So before going all these things, I'm just going to give a simple introduction about our course and everything, right? Now, if you see here, we are going to learn about data warehousing, PostgreSQL and Power BI, right? Now the question comes is why we are also touch basing with data warehousing and PostgreSQL instead of directly going into the Power BI. What is the significance of these two courses as a part of our overall Power BI course, right? Now I'm going to show you a very simple diagram. If you see this one, data to insights journey, right? Now, in the current world, everything is changing very fast, right? And the current buzzing what is about the geopolitics that which we are seeing in the Middle East and everything, right? I mean, we are seeing a lot of disturbances are coming in the Middle East, and there is a lot of wars kind of situation is coming. Now, how all these are going to happen, right? If a US or Israel, they are hitting to Iran or Iran getting hitting to the back to other Gulf countries. All this happening is based on the data that they are having, right? It can be the coordinates, it can be the information, it can be the data.
Recording in progress.
Guys, can you go on mute? Sorry, guys, for the disturbance. There seems to be some echo, right? So, how these things start, either it's a business or anything, social activity, whatever. Currently, everything is driven by data, right? There is no other answer at this point of time. The more data you have, right, and the more processing capacity you have, that is going to help us to create a meaningful insights. Those are required to shape our strategies, goals, right, and the execution. All these things happen. Now, there are a good number of systems are there. Either it can be a on-premises systems like a traditional databases, Teradata, a SQL Server, Oracle, right? All those things. Similarly, we are having some cloud-based databases. Those are provided by Google, Azure, AWS, all those things, right? So all the organizations and companies are using these systems either in terms of batch processing or real time. A lot of data is being stored in the data factory, right? And what our Power BI, Power Business Intelligence tool is going to create a meaningful insights, right? And on this particular data. So we are on the right side. The person who is going to the expert in the Power BI is going to sit in the right side. Now, in this data journey, right, many people think that, okay, boss, I need to learn everything. But what I feel is that pick up one particular area, right, and be SME, subject matter of that area. At the same time, once we are working on that area, that we need to make sure we are having a sound knowledge on other areas. That should be the starting point. Because if you see in the current market or whatever you go, people will put lot of things. Even if you see the jobs, right, they are going to give a lot of technical stack stating that yes, this is good, this is good. But when it comes to the interviewer, right, they would be very focused on a particular area, right? What they want to know is how strong you are on a particular area. Either it can be a data factory side or data analytics side, or there can be a machine learning, artificial intelligence. All these also comes. Okay. Now, I have a simple, straightforward answer to it, that who are interested on analytics, right? And who are more having some kind of a logical thinking, they, for them, the Power BI is very good starting point to be in the IT world, right? Now, in this data to insight journey, what are all the different stages we are having, and who are all going to work in all those stages? So, let me come to the next slide, right? Now, if you see here on the left side, right, we are having operational data, right? So in this stage, there would be lot of front-end developers are required who can connect, who can design and develop the front-end applications, and creating a solution. These front-end applications can collect the data and store it into the operational databases, right? So there they may need the front-end UI developers, UX developers, and developers those are having database knowledge, DBS, database administrators, all those things, right? Now, at one point of time, right, to do the analysis on the same systems resulted in the performance issues. Okay, the same systems that you are seeing here, right? In age-old days, what happens? They are used for the operational things. At the same time, there is some analytical activities also being done on this system, and this resulted in the poor performance of the systems. So now what it is decided is, okay, boss, I'm not going to touch these operational databases, right? I will be going and I'm going to create some good IT assets for the analytical purpose. So in that idea, we got the ETL part, extract transformation load, analytical data storage processing. Now, data engineers, I hope you have heard this word, Azure data engineer, cloud data engineers, right? Or ETL, extract transformation engineers. So all they are going to sit and work on creating these particular Azure factories or data bricks, or getting the data that is transformed into the data lakes. On top of this one, we, the Power BI data analyst, are going to work on data modeling and visualization, where business is interested in seeing these particular visualizations to understand how much sales has happened, how much profits is there, what is the total sales, what is the total revenue, right? Depending upon the business domain, we are going to create different KPIs. When you say KPIs, key performance indicators. Okay, so a Power BI data analyst is going to majorly working here, right? So that is the reason we are going to learn Power BI. At the same time, we should be having a good understanding, a decent understanding about the ETL world. So to have this understanding, especially with respect to the SQL, structured query language, which is a universal language that interacts with the databases. So we are included the PostgreSQL. And the PostgreSQL is a open source. When you say open source, it is free of cost. We don't need to pay anything for this software. Okay. So accordingly, it is very important that we are having good understanding with the foundations, the fundamentals. So that is the reason we are going to touch base the data warehousing. Like in physics, right? How the Newton laws are important, Newton first law, second law, third law. Similarly, the person who is working on as a data analyst, that they should be having a solid understanding with the data warehousing, right? So in our overall 3 weeks course, Power BI is going to our major subject. PostgreSQL and data warehouse are going to be our minor subjects. right? Any questions or queries till now? Because I want to make sure we all clear with the objective of our course, right? Why we are focused on Power BI, not a Azure data engineer or Databricks, right? I mean, there are different stages are there, right? And each stage has its own importance, right? And if you feel that, okay, I want to cover all end to end at a time, it is not that much easy or straightforward. So what I would suggest is pick one area, right, which is easiest to learn. I mean, start our career and be the subject matter expert and then explore other areas as and when we move. Okay. What is the certification we are preparing for? Right question, right? So the certification that is required for the Power BI is PL 300. So Microsoft Power BI Data Analyst, and this is the certification that is at the mid level. What I would say is this certification is not a foundation course also. This is the intermediate level. Let me open the in the portal. If you see this one, intermediate level, that means with this course that we are going to target the certification that tells us yes, the person is having a intermediate level of knowledge. That means a 3 to 5 years kind of knowledge, which means that we can easily apply jobs in the range of between 2 to 5 years, like a associate or entry level, right? These kind of things. And the role that we are going to apply is data analyst, right? And normally these particular course is going to be this certification is having around 12 months of renewal period, but the renewal is free. Initial certification costs around $165, right? We can pick up this one when we are nearing the end of the course, so that parallelly we can make sure that we are focusing on the certification and we are completing this certification. Okay, so at this point of time, we would be focusing on the training first 3 weeks, and the third week we are going to focus on the certification. Okay, and each and every class would be recorded and it would be uploaded in the YouTube, and the access would be provided to all the registered students. Okay, the benefit of this thing having in YouTube is that yes, you can watch the class at any point of time, whether you are traveling or whether you are outside. At least you can have a notebook and start revising the class and having the preparation done. Okay, and I'm also going to give a exercises or simple project tasks, you can see, to make sure that whatever the things that you have learned in the class that you are able to implement the same, right? And this is very important that we are also say, suppose if we covered a Power BI filters and slicer topic, right? Then I'm going to share whatever the work that we have done. At the same time, is some kind of a simple task that required you to be completed before coming to the next class. So what is the benefit of this one is the next classes would be more easy for you, right? And let me show you simple UI thing of the Power BI also. The good thing with Power BI is we really don't require extensive coding knowledge. Okay, so the level of code that we write in Power BI is this simply that the formulas, the Excel formulas that we write in Excel. Okay, and if you see the user interface of the Power BI is more or less looks like a Microsoft Office tools only. Suppose if you see here this PowerPoint presentation, right? So how we have different images and some kind of pictures and some kind of text we are giving. Similar thing we can see in the Power BI. Q visuals are going away. Oh, they are having some upgrades. Retired in December 26. Use Copilot to chart with your data. See, so our Power BI is also integrating with the AI or Copilot tools so that once our work is going to be more and more easier, right? If you see, these are all like bar charts, column charts, and some kind of donuts, right? And all these particular user interfaces, right? The way it works, home, insert, modeling, right? So these all looks PowerPoint, Microsoft PowerPoint, and if you see, there are different charts are there, visualizations. Just there would be simple naming, the way we what we call refer the names would be slightly different. Suppose in Excel we call it as a chart, in PowerPoint here we term it as a visualization, right? Similarly, if you see on the left side, we have a report view and we have a table view. Like in Excel, right? We see all the tables data. See, right? In Excel, like how we have the tabular data. Same thing here also we are going to have. One way we can say Power BI is also a kind of a integrated tool that have all the features of Excel, PowerPoint, or MS Word and all those things. Database things, data modeling. I mean, we can see how our tables are connected to each other, right? Easy to learn. And if you ask me what is the code that we are going to write is, if I show you a simple DAX data analytic expressions, right? If you see here, a simple thing where, just 1 second. Yeah, just see here. I hope you have seen this kind of bar in the Excel, right? So whenever you have select Excel, we write normally functions, aggregation functions, mathematical functions, logical functions, right? Similar thing we are going to write here. Total box is equal to sum of sales, right? And if I show you something like total previous year revenue, so we have a calculate function, a simple, easy lines of code that we are going to write, easy to understand and easy to learn also, right? And another interesting thing is, right, Power BI itself write all the code that is required to run this automation process, because getting a table, doing a cleanup, doing some transformation, it's kind of one-off activity, right? Once we are done and dusted, Power BI is going to create the backend coding, right? And it is going to execute all those things, right? Now, suppose if I select this particular table, right click, advanced editor. See, there is some 7 lines of code is there. And this code is automatically generated by the Power BI based on the drag and drop activities that we did. Okay, so we don't need to learn this one, but we need to have some basic understanding about how these particular lines of code is written by Power BI. That is the level that we are going to target, because when I take my student, right, they should be like a self motivated, or they should be having a self thinking, right? It's not like that, okay, we tell here there are two visuals, drag and drop and use it, but we are going to further deep dive what has happened on the back end also, right? Suppose a particular process, if you got a visual you are able to see on the screen, means what is the things that Power BI has written on the back end, right? And I'm going to give a really detailed explanation about this one. Just I'm taking one simple example in the interest of time. If you see the first line, source is equal to excel.workbook, file.content, and the file location, right? Very easy also to understand. And once we got the source, the next one, the sales underscore table, that has taken the source that is created, the object that is created in the previous line, and it is taken the sales item and the data. And the next one is change it types. We are going to learn one separate class for data types only, right? So if you want to be a data engineer or data analyst, it is very important that we should be having some solid understanding about the data types. Okay, so there are some universal topics irrespective of what kind of work you are doing, but if you are dealing with the data, like a data warehousing, data types, joins between the tables, and visualization, what kind of visualization, and we are going to make sure these universal topics are well delivered so that you can understand more in detail. Okay, is Power BI integrated with Copilot? Then a data analyst would not be required for the job, right? Okay, I'm just waiting for this question also. So, Ahmad, so as a trainer, what I would say is that whether it's a Copilot or any kind of AI feature, artificial intelligence feature, right? It is going to help us make our activities faster. Okay, I will just give a simple example here. Let me take a simple new page. Say I'm going to add a simple visual, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to check how much total sales for this particular thing. Let me put it like this: amount on the y-axis and products on the x-axis, right? I have dragged and drop and I can see all the things, and again I do a formatting, right? Now we have these AI features are there. Either it can be a key influencer, smart narrative, decomposition tree, or the one which you mentioned is Copilot. Before using the Copilot, we are having another interesting thing, Q&A, right? This is the current one and it is going to replace it with the Copilot. That is what they're saying, but I just want to show you. Now I'm just putting this one, same thing. Total sales by product. Total revenue, what is the amount? Okay, total amount by product. See, in column chart. So as a part of our training, we are going to learn how we normally create this one and how we are going to create this with the AI related tools. Either it can be a copilot, and both are important. First thing is, even currently, right, each and every organization says that, okay, you can use the copilot, but it is very important that we should use our consciousness whether the results that is provided by the copilot is accurate or not. Copilot can do your job, but it doesn't mean that it is going to do the right job. Now, on top of it, as a human, we are supposed to make sure whatever the results that has given by Copilot are accurate. right? So if we know how this is going to created, right, then the result that is provided by the copilot or Q&A, we can validate, yes, this result is accurate or not. Now, on the top of it, what copilot or QA is helping me is to do my job faster. Okay. A simple classic example is in my organization, right? Earlier, when I schedule a meeting, after the meeting, it took me approximate 1 hour to reconcile what is the points we discussed, rearrange them, and then send the meetings of minute, right? Now, Copilot is helping me to do that job in fraction of minutes. So, if I'm using that Copilot, yes, I'm going to be the top in my team. Okay, Ahmad, is it clarifies to your question? So not about here across the bank, whatever the tool we are using, right? Now every tool starting from Microsoft Office, Excel, this AI being used. So don't worry about it. I'm going to share a lot of tips and interesting things or related to the AI or Copilot, right? That is going to help you to do your job faster. Okay. As a student, we should be strong in fundamentals. Okay. That is like foundation, right? Without knowing the what is the fundamentals, suppose you are using a copilot, it would have generated a report, right? Okay. First time it is correct. Second time it may have some variations because it is purely based on the underlying data. Now, if consider if we are given a wrong result because the data present underline is not accurate. Now, as a human, I am supposed to make sure, right? Because ultimately I am going to present it, right? So that means the fundamentals, understanding about your data, the data structures, data quality, right? If I show you in LinkedIn also, there are a lot many images are coming, right? I mean, whatever the AI, ML, machine learning, the models, those are being executed on top of these data models, right? They are giving a wrong results because, I mean, whichever giving the wrong result, that is because they are having a wrong data, right? So now, as a Power BI data analyst, it is very important that we are also validating the data and we have some powerful tools like these things, data preview. Okay, this is going to give me how the column quality, how many valid are there, how many error, empty, column distribution. Suppose if I check the geography, it is going to give me the column distribution, column profiling. Okay, now to make sure our AI is working rightly on the ground, we should do these basic things. That is the fundamentals we are going to learn. Okay, so any questions about our course curriculum structure, what we are going to cover, and the certification? Okay, see, I can do simple, straightforward Power BI course, right? But why the reason that we are picking PostgreSQL means because for a data analyst, right, you should be mandatory having a knowledge of one of the language that is either SQL structure query language or Python or Scala, something like that. But again, for the students who are completely new to the IT, learning this Python or extensive coding is difficult. Whereas SQL is very simple and straightforward language like how we discuss. Suppose if I go to the shop, I say that, hey, can you select 5 apples and 6 oranges? Same thing we write. Select star from table, select column 1, column 2, column 3 from table by joining other table like this. So the main intention of PostgreSQL is yes, that we are going to be strong in SQL also. Okay. Any questions or queries till now? And another important thing, right? We all want to know how the job openings, right? So want to be very optimistic about it, right? Let me take the current openings from the LinkedIn. So if I go with Power BI, majority of the students are from USA, so I'm just picking up USA for example, right? So if you see there are at present 13,000 jobs are there, but again, if you go further because there are different things are there, ideally we won't be fitting for all those things. So I'm just taking very focused searching like intern, entry level and associate. And if you see those around 5K are there, right? Honestly saying that in this we would be having uh, data analyst related to other tools also, but I'm pretty confident that there is good number of openings are there for the Power BI. Now Microsoft Power BI and SQL consultant. So let us go this one to see what I see. Develop and maintain Power BI reports and dashboards to visualize data effectively. Collaborate with stakeholders to understand the business requirement. Optimize SQL queries database performance. So to make sure that we are fitting for this particular line, yes, we are also touch basing with the SQL. Please enter the password. I just want to show you any one of the previous than that we did. See, like if you want to create a table, we will simply tell, hey, can you please create a table for me? If you want to create a database, we will simply say create database, right? Let me come back to the job thing, right? It's just popped up, so I thought of just logging in it. Design and implement ETL process, extract, transformation, and load data into the Power BI. And this is we are going to learn as a part of our Power Query editor, right? Now, if I take this particular table, these are all the steps that we have created. Keeping first row, removed columns, changed types, added a custom column, right? These are the different steps that we have created manually, and the corresponding underline code, we also call it as mQuery language, is written by Power BI. We are going to learn all those things. Okay? Troubleshooting and resolving the issues in Power BI SQL, right? So Microsoft Power BI Consult Visa Pre and it is on Dallas, right? So similarly, there are good opportunities are there. Data engineer, what technologies it is looking. ETLC, experience analyze building ETLs, and here they are looking with Python and SQL. So when you are strong in SQL, definitely they would be considering our profile to be honest. And here it is, this is Tableau and Apache. Similarly, let me pick any other job opening that is related to the Power BI. So see, these are all different openings that we are having. We will be touch basing on business intelligence lead, right? Power BI developer. We can also further enhance our search with Power BI developer. Junior Power BI developer, Georgia, 0 to 2 years experience. Design, develop, and maintain interactive dashboards using reports. This is what collaborating with stakeholders. Connect Power BI to multiple data sources such as SQL database, Excel, APIs. creating DAX measures, maintaining data integrity. See, Power Query or M Query, strong analytical. This is going to be a common wording, strong analytical and problem solving skills. Senior Power BI developer, right? Opening wise, I am pretty sure and confident, right? And if you see Power BI developer 110K to 145K per year. See, okay. Job market is very good and excellent. It's all about making ourselves to fit for the job market. Upskill, I would say, upskill ourselves to meet the job requirements and apply it. And we as a hack, agile hands-on coaching, right? We are also having separate team who is going to help you specifically for in terms of searching the jobs, applying the job, building your profiles and all those things. Yeah, Ahmad, you can post what is your query. Let me pause the recording also. We can take the questions. Hey all, thanks for your time and patience. So uh, just to restart our first class, right? So as we mentioned, as I mentioned in our just previously, our data warehousing and Postgres is going to be our minor subjects and Power BI is going to be our major subject. Accordingly, the course structure is divided in a way that 10% data warehousing, 30% Postgres SQL, and rest of the 60% we are having Power BI. If you see the course curriculum, the 3 weeks, the first week, the first class is about data warehousing, which are like a fundamentals or foundation, like a Newton laws, right? If we are learning a data warehouse means that is means we are learning the laws of data warehousing, like how the Newton laws is laws of physics we are learning here. And the first week we would be covering the PostgreSQL, and the second and third week we would be completely focusing on Power BI. And when we are coming to the end of the course, we are going to touch base the artificial intelligence visuals, AI. So here we are going to learn how I can do my job faster. Initially, we would be seeing how we need to do our job with strong and fundamentals. And while we are coming end of the course, we would be learning how fast I can make our my job completed. Like how can I accelerate my work, all those things. Okay. Now, as a part of first class, we are going to touch base with the data warehousing concepts, right? Now, for this one, again, I want to take you back here, right? Now, in this journey, and you can see that the ETL or analytical data storage and processing. Okay, so I'm just going to give a simple example. So suppose if you want to count some items, those are present in your room, right? If they are scattered, then to count those items, it may take 1 hour time, assuming, right? Now, if we have organized all those objects in a well organized way, then to count those things may be completed in 10 minutes. Will you agree with me or not? So one thing is faster completion. Second thing is the efforts that we are going to put would be reduced if they are in a organized fashion, right? Same thing we are implementing as a part of data warehousing, right? The way the data initially collected in the operational systems, right? They may be scattered or they may be duplicated or there may be some data missing, right? Now, one classic example is when you go to any shopping mall. right? Some associate or some kind of sales associate would be sitting or marketing guy would be sitting. He's asking, hey, can you share your details that we are doing a marketing campaigning or we are pulling a some lucky draw. Can you share your details? And the form would be lengthy, but in a hurry, we would be just filling minimum details and there would be some data would be missing. Correct? Similarly, when you go to the bank and if you are filling an application form, right? If you remember that application form would be something a 5 pages or 6 pages also, right? Because as per the government mandatory, we need to keep all the options there. If it is a account opening to the children, that there should be a guardian column should be there, mandatory to be filled. But if it is an adult, that can be optional. So in this way, in the operational systems, the data would be stored in a way that is best for the operational purposes. Okay, so if I go to the bank and if I ask, hey, can you please, this is my account number that I have a query that I need to search it. Then out of the million customers, one record to be fetched in a fraction of seconds. So the operational systems are built in a way that they can run faster for the small amount of information. That is the purpose of operational systems, right? Now, when it comes to the analyticals, just I'm taking back to the example when I have a house and there are a lot of objects are placed, right? Similarly, when you go to the bank and bank are having lot of customers across different segments, right? Now a CIO, CEO comes and asks, hey, I want to know how many customers are there. Then we need to consolidate all of them, right? To one place and run a simple count query and get the customers, right? Now, if we are firing the same things on these operational systems, since it need to read entire table, do some aggregations, so overall the performance of the systems would be impacted, right? Because here the data is not organized in a way that can do the analytical job. Here the data is present in a way that can handle the operational things, right? So that is the reason that data warehousing concept has came that, okay, boss, I will take a copy from here on daily at the end of the day. Traditionally, it is end of the day. Say today at 6 p.m. banks are closed, then I'm going to pull the data where the changes are happened. I put in the warehouse in a way that is good to count those numbers. Okay. So since I'm anyway taking a copy this time, I don't want to keep like to like, but along with the copy of it, I'm going to summarize the data and put it in warehouse so that whenever I want to count how many are there, I can easily do that job. This is the fundamentals of data warehousing. Everyone should know. Even it is a machine learning, artificial intelligence, they all again do their large learning models on the data that is loaded by the data warehousing. Okay, so later on from Power BI, if you want to switch to any AI related things, the underlying fundamental or foundation is not going to change. Okay, so there is a classic flow chart is there, flow diagram is there, which I use, and this is there from a long time, and I want to take that example only for the easy understanding. This is the one, right? Now, if you see this particular diagram, whatever we discussed now, I just want you to correlate this one. I'm having my operational systems, those supports the day-to-day business activities, whether it's a bank or a shopping mall, wherever it may be. If it is a shopping mall, then the sales data would be captured, whatever the sales has happened. If it is a bank, the customer activities, all those things would be captured, and some flat files storing the information related to the employees, right? If you take a bank, the customer transactions would be in millions. Will you agree with me or not? At the same time, the activities related to the employees of the bank would be hundreds, right? So those can be managed in the flat files. So similarly, based on the requirement, we may have the database or a cloud system or a flat files also, right? There is a simple line is there. We need to use right instrument for the right job, right? Suppose knife should be used for cutting. Similarly, a needle should be used for sieving, right? You can't go use the knife since it is sharp and bigger for to do the stitching. Similarly, if we are having small amount of data, a flat files are good enough. And if you are having large amount of data, a database, a cloud system, etc., etc. Right? Now, how the warehouse is going to work? It is going to get the raw data as we shown here at the end of the day. Now, the current strategy is that even the details are not waiting till end of the day. We are having the data in real time also. The jobs are created or scheduled in a way that every hour we get the data into the data warehouse. The demand is like that. Everyone want to see how the customer is behaving, how the business is going in real time. What happened earlier like that? Okay, what is my last year sales? What is my last month sales? Accordingly, marketing teams plans this month sales. But now it is not like that. Okay, what is my yesterday's sales? Right? How the customer, what customer is looking 1 hour before. If we are searching something online, right? Immediately we are getting new offers being popped up, right? So that means just activity done 10 minutes before is also being captured for analytics. So this much demand is there in the data world. Okay. So if data warehousing, what it is going to do, it is going to capture raw data, summarize it data, so that whenever we want to recount the things, we can quickly go to this summarized data and metadata. What did it mean by metadata is information about the details that we are storing. Suppose if I am storing a customer related attributes is SSN number, name, date of birth, everything, that I should maintain a log, a audit file kind of thing that yes, boss, these are all the attributes of the customer I am storing. And I am going to use these things for XYZ purpose. And this is very important, especially in banks and healthcare, all these things. If the regulators comes and ask me, okay, tell me how you are using your customer data, then this is the place where I can go and quickly share those details. Okay, because the regulators come and ask, okay, I want what kind of activities you are doing with the customer by within 2 months or within 1 month. Then I can't go and then build my softwares and everything because building takes time over a period of time, right? So that is the reason a warehouse, like a industrial warehouse where we keep the objects, either a raw material or a finished goods. Same thing here in the warehouse, we keep the raw data so that we can have a historical information about our customers and a summarized data that can be used for the analytics and a metadata that would be stored. Since it is storing data, we are calling it as a data warehouse. On top of this data warehouse, again, we have a data marts. Now, data marts is exactly a data warehouse only. What are the features, things those would be there in the warehouse? Same thing would be data marts, but data marts is like, okay, the sales team is really not interested my entire data warehouse that I created for organization. So I will create a copy to them. like purchasing data mart, sales data mart. On top of it, we Power BI analysts are going to pull the analysis, reporting, and mining. Okay, so different team members work as a team. Now we as a Power BI analyst going to work closely with the data engineers who build this one, and knowledge on the data warehousing is very important so that we can understand what our data engineers has built and how to use it. At the same time, if there is any flaws, that we can have a discussion with them and fix it. Okay, is it clear about data warehousing? So I'm happy to repeat this again and again. The reason because if we are strong in fundamentals, then subsequently we can easily correlate what we are doing. Okay, and the article or the KB knowledge bank that I'm going to give for the data warehousing is from the Amazon because it has given a clear and crystal clear description. Warehouse is a central repository of information that can be analyzed to make informed decisions. Data flows into data warehouse from transactional systems, relational databases, other sources. If you see this particular image, right? Different other source systems, right? All those things. Business analysts, data engineers, data scientists, and decision makers access the data through BI tools, SQL clients, and different things. Let us become a business analyst and work with data engineers and data scientists. As simple as it is, clear with our objective. Data warehouse is made up of tiers. The top tier is front-end client that present results through reporting, analysis, and data mining. Right here you can see the front-end one who does the reporting, mining, and everything. And the additional advantage of Power BI is right since we are the front end, so we closely work with the business. The business comes and asks, hey, I want to see how my business is running. So that means we in a way becomes kind of a bridge between the business people and the technology people, right? So it's a slowly transition for us also. Till now we would be close to business in our own domains, and now we are slowly converting into the technology areas. The middle tier consists of the analytical engines that is used to access analyze data, like it can be a data marts in this way, analytical engines. And the bottom tier is about the database servers where data is loaded. Okay, so as simple, very simple and straightforward. What are the benefits of using data warehousing? Informed decision making, consolidated data from many sources. See this diagram, consolidated data from many sources to here. Historical data analysis. Since we are maintaining the raw data as it is, we are going to have we can do the historical data analysis. Data quality, consistency, and accuracy. These are the very key things for the data warehousing. These are like a pillars. If the data quality is not good, then the reporting that we are creating may end up with the errors. That means business can take a wrong decision. Separation of analytical processing from transactional databases, which improves the performance of both the systems. Okay, sure, Lakshmi, fine. Similarly, we have different terminologies, right? Data warehouse, database, data lakehouse. To simply give you about these examples, right? I just want to show you this particular diagram. Okay, just for easy understanding that I have kept it. Now, a database is like a house that we are going to build. Within that one, we are going to have tables like each and every room. a customer table for customer information, a account tables for account information, right? Now, the data that we stored in the databases or within the tables is very organized in rows and columns. That is the reason we call it as a structured data, right? Because if you are collecting information in a proper rows and columns and declaring what kind of data it is going to be structured data, right? A database or data warehouse is a classic example where we can find the structured data, right? Now, over a period of time, the business is expanding a lot. Just a databases is not going to good enough because like data is being sent through the files, unstructured, semi-structured, right? Now, if you see, we are having the files with the CSV or files with the JSON where they can store different level of attributes. Now, if you take a table having four columns, that means I can store information related to those four columns only. Suppose if I have customer ID, name, address, salary, then this table I can store only these four attribute related information. Now, if I want to further store anything like customer phone number, anything, then I need to change the structure of the table. So that means again there is a complexity involved. So for that one, we got the files with the different formats, JSON formats, Parquet formats, all those things. So this is a kind of semi-structured, right? Now, the systems that can handle both the structured and semi-structured kind of data is the lake houses. Okay, we have good images also in the lake houses and all those things that it can store semi-structured like JSON, CSV files and all those things. Where Hadoop systems, all those things, right? Cloudera they can use. Similarly, we have the cloud. It can be AWS or Azure services or Google services. Now they can store beyond the files also like videos, images, tweets, charts and everything. So if you want to build a system that handles the Facebook, then everyone would be posting different charts and everything. So this becomes an unstructured. So type of data, right? What kind of systems are available to use it and what kind of uh, objects or those things those can be stored. Like we can see type of data. I'm going to share you all these information, huh? Systems or technologies and objects. What are all the objects those would be available? Okay, so this is all about the data warehousing. Is it clear till now? Now, the systems those do the operational things, we call it as online transactional processing, OLTP. What is this one? Online transactional processing. Okay. Similarly, the things those are used to analysis or analytical purpose we call OLAP, online analytical processing. Okay, this is all about OLAP and OLTPs. So these are like some naming terminologies, those are used for easily understanding the things, right? Now, coming back to two great scientists, WH Inman and Ralph Kimball. Now, whatever we are discussing, okay, boss, let us get all our data into a separate systems and we term it as a data warehousings, right? and we are going to do analytics. Now, this approach is proposed by these two great scientists, W.H. Inman and Rolf Kimball. Okay, so I started my career with the traditional ETL things. After that, I have seen the reportings, and now I'm working on the cloud related technologies, AWS. And here also, we are doing some ML or a different data engineering. But the underlying concept never ever changed. I have raw data, I get it into a systems, cloud systems where there is a huge processing capacity. I process it, transform, and use for the analytical purpose. This is not going to change. Now, what Inmal and Kimball have proposed, let me get the diagrammatic representation of them. So, since Kimball has proposed one approach, so that is the reason he has put his approach is Kimball. Okay. Now, what Kimball has proposed is, okay, boss, in your organization, you have different departments. Each department has one system that manages their business day-to-day activities, right? So, uh, just one second. Okay. So, what you are going to do is create an individual data mart for each and every system, right? As we know, data mart is again a kind of data warehouse only, right? Go and sit with the marketing team, analyze their system, and create a data mart for it, right? Similarly, sit with the manufacturing team and create a data mart, and then integrate everything into the data warehousing as a enterprise level data warehouse. This is what Kimball proposed. So on this central data warehousing, then we will give it to the reporting teams like a Power BI, Tableau, right? Or data engineers or data scientists that they can work on creating some of the data models. Now, what is the benefit of this one is the initial cost is very less and it's a iterative method. Whoever the scrum masters, right, here in this call, that what it tells is if you have a big project, first let us break them into a simple BOs, business outcomes, right, that is actionable insights, and start working it, deliver that one, see the results, and go on improving this one and start building the new future, right? A kind of a scrum model. This is Kimball proposed. So the benefit of this one is that since it is a iterative process, right? Setup and builds are quick, generating report again at multiple schema is successful, database operates very effectively, occupies less space in the database. Whereas Inmon has proposed, no boss, don't go with the individual data marts like Kimball because that is creating multiple silos. Each and every department, right? They are creating their own data marts. So what happening is from an organizational lens at the enterprise level, when I am seeing what is there in my organization, I'm not getting a single view. And there are multiple redundants are there. Say marketing team is creating one employees table, sales team is creating one employees table. Similarly, manufacturing team is also creating because in each and every department you we have the employees. They are the common one, right? Now, what happening is I am as an organization if I am having 1,000 employees, but there is no single point where I can see the details of these 1,000 employees. So what Inmon has proposed is even though you have multiple systems, right? Suppose marketing team has captured all their employees and similarly manufacturing team has their systems captured their employees, get all those employees into a single table in the enterprise level data warehouse. Okay, and then give a separate copy to each and every department based on some filter conditions. Okay, Now, I hope you got a basic understand about these two things. And what is your suggestion to an organization? Do you think that Kimball is the best one or Inmon is the best one? So Inmon needs a huge initial cost and also expertise who knows the business across the departments. And they also need to understand how these departments are correlated with each other. Okay. So can you post your suggestions? Which one you prefer, Inmon or Kimball approach? So I want to make sure we are doing more interactively. So would be great if you share, I mean, what is your choice and a one-liner why that is selected. Okay, getting some response. I would go for Kimball. Okay, thank you, Alice. Any one point why you are going to go for Kimball? Just a kind of a one-liner. What is the benefit you see? Right. So both these are successful approaches. That is the reason after decades also we are learning this thing. It's about the organization's appetite to put the cost and work on it. Okay, now let us see a comparative. What is this left side? Sometimes these ads cover everything. Just one second. Yeah, now it is good. Okay. So I want to just show you comparative things like introduced by Ralph Kimball and introduced by Bill Inmon, right? Now, if you see the approach, the Kimball approach is bottom-up approach. That means if you see the organizations, right, we are starting with the each and every departments from the bottom and we are going to enterprise level. Now, Inmon is on the other side. Data integration, it focus on individual business areas, right? We sit with each of the business lines and work with and build there. Whereas it focus on enterprise-wide areas. So as I told you, right? So Inmon helps us to have the things centrally at one place so that for the organizational heads, they can quickly see them. It is efficient and takes less time, yes, because we are working with parts. It is complex and consumes a lot of time because we are building at the enterprise level. It's an iterative steps and cost effective. Its initial cost is used and development cost is low. So I want you to just capture this point because initial cost is used because we need to get all the teams at one place. We need to get the experts, subject matter experts from each area, right? And we need to understand more. But once we got the architecture and everything is built, then we can start production like a mass production. That is the reason development cost is low. It does not need such a skill, but generic team will do. Specialized skill works. Here maintenance is difficult. Here maintenance is easy. See, the benefits of Inmon is its maintenance is easy because we are getting everything at one place, right? So the maintenance is very easy. It prefers data to be denormalized. It prefers data to be normalized, right? So guys, this denormalization and normalization is another important topic that we need to learn, right? So next 10 minutes, I want your complete attention on this one, okay? Because I'm going to show you some examples, some tables what this normalization and denormalization means to easily understand. Okay, now let me take a simple table that is present in the operational systems. Okay, a sales table. Now, if you see this particular sales table, right, we are sorry. So whenever we go to the shop, right, and when we are purchasing, obviously they treat us as a new customer and they will ask to fill all the address, etc., and all those things, right? Even at the same time, when you go to that store again back for any inquiry, that we may provide our transaction ID, which would be populating all the information, right? Now, if you see here, this particular sales table is having details related to the customer, Harish, Michael, Derek, who has purchased. And if it is a grocery store, this Michael, Derek, and Hari would be visiting regularly. That means regularly their information would be fed into the system, right? Data retrieval wise, it is faster, but the thing is that we are storing data repeatedly. My address is being stored 100 times if I visited 100 times to that store. Similarly, the product names are repeated. And definitely, if you take the chocolates, right, hundreds of customers are going to purchase the chocolate. That means this particular word, chocolate, is going to be repeated multiple times, right? So, what denormalization means? Keeping as much information as possible in a single table, right? So that data can be retrieved faster. That's the advantage. But the disadvantage is we are storing redundant data, right? And we all know the disk space comes with a cost, correct? So what Inmon has proposed, right, or normalization says is that, okay, boss, if a customer is supposed to visit regularly, let us store his customer details in the customer table. Like whenever a student joins in the school or college, first thing we do is we will give a student roll number, right? So this is going to be referred in his entire academic career for whatever the activities comes in the subsequent days, whether it's a exams, whether it's a sports, whether it's something else, right? So what we do is first we will create a customer profile table and we will store the customer information there. Similarly, if a product is there, now I am going to create a product table and store all the product related information as much as possible as a unique record. Now, whenever a sales table are supposed to be populated in the warehouse, now instead of storing a detailed information, I'm going to take those reference keys and store it. So what is the benefit of this one in the warehouse is that I am reducing the data redundancy exponentially. Address that is going to have 100 characters. Now I'm going to store a unique ID for this address, maybe 5 characters or 10 characters, especially it's a numeric one, right? So normalization is about uh, splitting our data into multiple tables. Those are relational in nature. Okay, so all the databases maintains this relation. That is the reason they termed as relational database management systems. So whenever you heard a word database or the systems, we call them as a relational database management systems, right? Now, if I want to show you this in a pictorial representation, so in our Power BI article, we have that one. Let me get that one. So this article is again a Power BI article. Okay. So this here it is. So I have a sales table sitting at the center, right? That is going to store how much quantity, cost, what is the total cost, along with the information about those product and customers based on their unique reference number sitting at the center. And to support, suppose if I have a product ID 1 and if I want to know what is this product ID, I will hit to the product table and I will get more details from the products table. So a centrally fact table. We are terming the central table as a fact. The reason is it is going to store the facts. When we say facts, a transaction, a observation, and that is supported by the dimension table. So these products table, we call it as a dimensions, right? Suppose if you take a square, we say what is its dimensions, length and breadth. Similarly, if I take a fact table of sales, its dimensions would be a products table that going to refer for the product information, a sales territory table to see which territory they have sold, a employee table who has done. Considering this relation looks like a star, we call it as a star schema. Honestly saying, like how Newton laws, right? Decades back we learned. After that, whenever in Newton laws we learn, we study that the first example comes is the rocket that is going to space. Now all the missiles that we are seeing that being fired, everything is using this Newton law, Thor law, projectile, same thing. Whatever the technology tool we use for the data analytics, this star schema or normalization and denormalization concepts are the building blocks. Okay, so if a fact table connected with dimension tables at one level, then it is called as a star schema. Okay, similarly, we have another schema called snowflake schema. See where it is? Oh, yeah, here it is. So here what happens is a fact table is connected to the dimension table. Now, if this dimension table is further referring another dimension table, then it is termed as snowflake schema. Okay. One classic example is in the customer address, right? We are storing customer name, address, city, and state. Now, we all know in a city, we are going to have a hundreds of customers. Now, instead of I am repeating this city name, city, state, country, all these three values. I just store the city ID and I'm going to have another city table that is going to have name, state, country, or some coordinates and anything related to that one like country, postal code, all those things, right? Now, when you take this one, now the sales table for the address where this product need to be delivered, it is going to pull the address details from the customer address and their city and state, it will goes to the city table. So like parent, child, grandchild. So if this relation is multi-level, then we term it as a snowflake schema. Okay, so these fundamentals are very, very important to learn because in the real world, we can't keep the entire data in a single table. It is practically impossible. So we distribute our data into multiple tables. That means we need to know how these tables are correlated, especially in our Power BI. Then we have model view to show these relationships. A sales table, which is a fact, connected with people, location, and products dimension table. Here, this table is a three dimension, having its three dimensions. And we are going to learn all these things as a part of our course curriculum in the coming days. Okay, so coming back to the differences, I hope now you are clear with the denormalization and normalization. Data source systems are highly stable, whereas high rate of change, because when it goes to the enterprise, different new systems would be coming into our data warehouse. Okay, so we have covered an introduction about data warehouse and we have seen what is OLTP and OLAP. Similarly, we have touch based what is the architecture proposed by Inmon and Kimball, right? In line, we understand about the data marts and we have seen a snowflakes and star schema along with data normalization and denormalization, right? So if you see, all these topics are very interrelated, right? And that is very important that we are rightly pronouncing these terminology and everything. Whenever we are going to the interview, definitely they would be putting one or two basic questions on this data modeling. Okay, we call it data warehousing, but data modeling is also the term used to define all these things. Okay, so in tomorrow's class, we would be starting with PostgreSQL, understanding about the PostgreSQL, and I want to show you. We are going to see how to install it. We are going to learn how to install a software. It's quick and easy, and we will be seeing building our first database and creating the table. Okay, so next couple of days, our main focus is to giving hands-on with the SQL, right? So let me pause the class here for today.